Hello. In this video, we're going to go over the type in InDesign, how to set up your typography, how to set up your hierarchies, and using the type tool specifically. So let's get started. We'll zoom in here on our document, our beautiful rectangle that we set up previously. We'll click the type tool over here or just T on your keyboard. Similar to Illustrator or Photoshop, this works by clicking and dragging, and this will create what we call a text frame. So we can sort of like click into our modules and drag stuff around. If we click properties, you'll see that it gives us all of the relevant information as it pertains to our typography. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to give us some lorem ipsum or some dummy text. So if we right click on our text frame, we can insert with placeholder text, and it does exactly that. So you'll see it very quickly gives us the option to have a full block of text in our text frame. With our selection tool, when we click our text frame, it works exactly like the other software. So you could click and drag. So let's say I want this to take up 2 columns versus 3. We can move that, make it skinnier. 1, if you wanted to make it super duper skinny, more power to you. We don't care. And for the sake of this, I want to show you what happens when we fill it up too much. So I'm just going to copy and paste it over twice. And what you'll see, I don't know if you saw that happen, but clearly this text frame isn't big enough to accommodate all of the content. And what happened is down here, it gave me this little red plus sign. Also, if you notice, it gave us an error down here at the bottom of the InDesign interface, because it's hiding some text and the software doesn't want us to accidentally send this project off with text that isn't showing that is supposed to be shown. So one cool feature of InDesign is if I, with my selection tool, click this little red plus, you'll see that my cursor is now preloaded with the remaining text. And this is just another type tool. So I can click and drag again. So I'll create another column of text here. And now technically I have 2 linked text frames. What does that mean? It means as I edit some of the text and maybe like increase the height of this one will shorten, right? On the right. That's because they're linked. Any overflow text that I add to here. So like, let's say I copy and paste this twice, you'll see that now the text, the overflow text will continue to push onto the next text frame. This is so powerful for us to use as designers, specifically when we start laying out books, because you think like if text frames flow from one page to the next, every time you adjust anything like the leading or the size of your type, you don't want to have to worry that you're accidentally going to cut stuff off and then have to edit every single page across your book. This is a very powerful tool. It kind of mitigates the chance for us making a mistake, which is always really great for us. Some of the weirdness of how type works in InDesign, if I'm using my select tool and I just click the text frame, it gives us the properties that we could adjust, but it treats it almost like a shape. And so we can't really adjust our type per se so far. What that requires is us to double click for whatever reason. So when I double click, it gives us that sort of like live cursor. And you see it immediately changed to our text properties. Just like any other text editing software, it's going to require you to like highlight the text that you want to edit. So like in the case that I want to change like the size of my type, it's not going to respond until I either double, triple, quadruple click, or just like Command or Control A for select all. And then I'm able to edit everything on the fly. So you'll see on the character panel, this is going to give us all the options that we're familiar with if you've used type in Photoshop or Illustrator. It gives you your whole font list here. Let's do something cool. Let's do knockout. It gives you, so if you chose your typeface, if your typeface has several fonts within it, so like bold, condensed, you can select those there. It lets you choose your type size here, up and down. It lets you choose your leading. Your tracking is over on the right. That is the space between all characters. So you'll see as you increase it, it adds a lot more sort of airiness to everything versus kerning, which is specifically the space between two characters. So that's where you can't necessarily um, select all. You have to like click between the two characters. So like if I'm between, let's say, M and M and N, I decided the kerning is terrible there and it needs to be way wider. That's where you start to have that nuanced control. Um, and then over in the paragraph panel, we'll see something different. So hold on, let me get some. There we go. So I'll select all, and then my paragraph panel, yeah, you have your alignment options. These are going to be probably the most useful cases for you to use this panel. And then you do have some nuance control over like how you showcase bullets and numbering for lists, stuff like that. If you're not seeing all of the tools that you think you should. Sometimes Adobe will hide them under like the 3 button menu. So under the character panel, you'll see like now I have access over like all caps, or superscript or subscript or underline or strike through. And then in paragraph, you'll see like you have your hyphenation option. So if I don't want my paragraphs to hyphenate, that's where you control that. You could also like add borders, stuff like that. You get some pretty nuanced control over like the spacing of your paragraphs. So overall, if I want to indent my paragraphs, if I want the first line to indent significantly, if I want to introduce like some sort of like space after paragraph, that's where it would come here. Um, that's where you get to control all of that. So ultimately, that's pretty much what you want to do for project two. You want to start adding type. You'll want to link your text boxes so that you can lay it out all together. And then yeah, just play around with your character and your paragraph panels and see what you can get away with. It's a lot fun to sort of experiment there. In the next video, we're going to go over how to handle imagery. So yeah, we look forward to it. Thanks.